On this podcast, we talk about the books, both old and new, that are worth putting on your to-be-read list. I'll include the back cover synopsis, content warnings, as well as my pro and con list. To avoid any spoilers, head over to my Instagram at enjoylifewithme.angela. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these books. Let's jump in for the day. Today we're going to be talking about the nonfiction titled The Lazy Genius Way, Embrace What Matters, Ditch What Doesn't, and Get Stuff Done by Kendra Adachi. The back cover says, being a lazy genius isn't about doing more or doing less, it's about doing what matters to you. The chorus of shoulds is loud. You should enjoy the moment, dream big, have it all, get up before the sun, track your water consumption, go on date nights, and be the best. Or maybe you should ignore what people think, live on dry shampoo, be a negligent PTA mom, have a dirty house, and claim your hot mess like a badge of honor. It's easy to see and feel overwhelmed by the mixed messages of what it means to live well. Kendra Adachi is the creator of the Lazy Genius movement and invites you to live well by your own definition and equips you to be a genius about what matters and lazy about what doesn't. Everything from your morning routine to napping without guilt falls into place with Kendra's 13 unique principles, including decide once, start small, ask the magic question, go in the right order, and schedule rest. Discover a better way to approach your relationships, work, and piles of mail. Be who you are without the complications of everyone else's shoulds. Do what matters, skip the rest, and be that person again. There's no language in this book. The only thing I would let people know about is that towards the end there's a section that has Christian perspective on how we go about this, which for me was wonderful and I loved it. The only con I had was that there are a lot of steps or rules, I guess, but she goes through each one so thoroughly I didn't feel like it was a downfall other than like I'm not going to remember all 13. It's great, it's just a lot of them, and I think in the synopsis it lists 5 of them, and I feel like those 5 basically encompass most of the rest of it, so maybe it could have been pared down, but they all are important. So let's jump in. The first one was to decide once, which gives your brain a break. The decision fatigue of adulthood is real, and so being able to choose clothes once, so it's like if I'm going to work, I grab a maxi dress. If it's the weekend, jeans and a book t-shirt. Just having the same thing, and you don't have to think. You're not remaking decisions about things unless that's important to you. I have a sister-in-law whose closet is like 3 times the size of mine, and she loves just putting together outfits and making sure everyone matches and coordinates and whatever, and that's awesome. And that's where she can be a genius on that side, where I get to be lazy on that side, where it's like, nope, as few choices as it can possibly be for clothes is how I would roll. You can do the same concept with food. You have the same salad for the whole week. You just prep all of them that Saturday before, meal's done. Don't have to think about lunches for that week. Or you say every Tuesday is Taco Tuesday until, the kids are sick of it and you come up with something else. But for all of those weeks, you don't have to think about what you're making for dinner. You can do it with gifts. She gave the example of a friend that always gets a beauty product. Whatever the greatest, newest beauty product is, that's always what they got for Christmas, because that was something that was important to them. She doesn't have to think, oh, what are they going to like? What about? It's like, nope, what's the new beauty product? That's the one they're getting. Teachers always get Amazon gift cards. End of discussion. Like, we're not going to try and make cutesy things because that is so not my thing. And as a former teacher, gift cards, lovely. Just throwing that out there. There was just a ton of ideas that she gives. And that's a great thing that she does, is she gives examples from her own life and throws out some others as well, just to kind of get you thinking, oh, how can I apply this one to myself as well? The second one was start small. And I feel like this one, along with another nonfiction that I'm currently reading, which is Atomic Habits, and I'll get to that next month, but this was a great one. She talks about how she did one down dog, like a yoga pose, the down dog, every day. And it didn't change for months and months and months, but because she had built the habit, she was able to change how she thought about it. And I feel like that's super important, because I start a new routine and I'm going to make amazing changes, and it lasts for like 2 days, maybe 3. And so I'm like, this start small principle is really important. I feel like it's a great step to make sure you don't skip. She also has number 3 as ask the magic question, which is, what can I do now to make life easier later? So can I chop the veggies for dinner now while the kid's having their morning snack, so that at 4:30, when they're melting down and fighting with their sibling and someone isn't doing their homework, and I don't have to deal with chopping veggies, I just grab the container from the fridge, throw them in the pan. How can I make life easier later by doing something now? Number 4 is live in the season. I think this is a great one, especially for parents. Every stage of life is going to be hard, and if you can just realize that it's just a phase and just roll with it and let it teach you something, without trying to like hold on or resist the hard things, you're going to enjoy life a lot more if you can just live in the season you're in. And I understand that's way easier said than done. But when you can pull yourself back from those spiral moments, you're like, you know what? It's going to be okay. Because it is. Number 5 is build the right routine. And I think this one is also very important, where she talks about where she does the one down dog again. Because the right routine for me is never going to be a 5 a.m. scripture study. I will not get out of bed for it. It is very important to me to read the scriptures every day. It is. And I do. But it will never be at 5 a.m. That's just not who I am. It's not who I even want to be, frankly. 5 a.m. shouldn't exist. I feel like that's this whole book, is just living in your values, finding what's important and valuable to you as an individual, because we're not talking morality values, but we're talking what's important to you as a person, and building your routines around those things. Number 6 is setting house rules, where for our house, it's like, you take off your shoes, you wash your hands, then we can play games, we can have dinner, we can whatever. Like, having house rules like that keeps other things from spiraling throughout the day. The next one, number 7, is put everything in its place. Everything needs a home. Everything needs a place to live. Because if you don't, that unmade decision and clutter multiplies exponentially every time you blink. It's obnoxious. But it's like, everything needs to have a home. Everything needs to have a place. Number 8 is let people in. And I feel like this one is super important. And it was also very hard, because I had some resistance with it myself. Insecurities are a real thing, but connection is a human need. It's not even a want, it's a human need to have connection with other humans. And so while for me, that's not going to be hosting a 20-person gathering in my house. I'm going to take friends to dinner. I'm going to go to my book club twice a month. Like, I have things for those connection pieces because it is so important, but it's not going to be in my house because I don't like that. And so it's finding ways that you can let people into your life that are good for you, because it is so important. Number 9 was batch it. She talks about batch baking. but it can be applied other ways, because I was like, well, I was struggling to come up with ways other than batch baking that I've heard about. And so for one of the examples she gave was the order that she does kitchen cleanup, and I was like, oh, I do that. I didn't realize that's what it was, but it basically is. So it's for me how my kitchen's laid out. Everything gets taken off the table, like kids take their plates to the counter. I walk around the counter because of how the layout is, and then I put food in the fridge, leftovers away, plates and such get stacked, categories with dishes, and then they get washed and taken care of. And after that, then everything gets wiped down and the floor is swept, and it's just, you batch it, because I'm not emptying the table, then wiping the table, and then going back and putting the food away, and then wiping the counter, because it's like you did the same thing twice. So you want to batch it, and I thought that was just such a great way of thinking about it, because I did it without even knowing it, which was kind of nice to be like, hey, look, I know how to do things. But she did it with papers or art supplies, because kids have just so much art things all the time. And so she had some great examples there of how we can do that with other things other than baking. Number 10 was essentialize. It's that rule I think we've heard before, where you subtract to add. So you take things away to add more space for other things in your life. The one that I like to use the most is, you get 50 emails a day that you don't look at. You just delete, or you end up with one of those inboxes with thousands of unread emails that just stress me out. So what you do is you spend forever one day and just unsubscribe from everything. And so you're unsubscribing from these things, and it just adds to mental space. You're not getting so many emails that day. You can go through your social media accounts and unsubscribe or unfriend or unfollow accounts that don't matter to you anymore. Or you can mute them so you can still stay in the group, but you're not seeing notifications for it. Making space, so you're adding enjoyment to social media. You're seeing your friends' posts and not just a bunch of pages that you followed. Number 11, right order. Do things in the right order. And I think the most important with this one is starting with a good thought, like intentionally choosing a good thought for it. Reframing our mindset and our attitude can change everything. It really can. The one she gave was, you're exercising because you're tending to a body, and releasing stress is kind to yourself. Not I have to or I should, but it's like, I'm choosing to exercise because taking care of my body is important to me. And then number 12, schedule rest. We all have things in our life that we can get really genius about, where we have the perfect vacation and our bedroom has to have the right bedroom set and everything has to be just perfect to be rest, where you have a day spa day or a weekend girls trip, and I think those things are amazing, but that's not an everyday rest, and your body, your nervous system needs an everyday rest. And being the opposite of a genius, to go lazy where you don't do anything ever for yourself, that's not good either. Making sure you have one or two things that you can look forward to. Like, there's little things we can do every single day that is going to help us remember who we are, that we're not just in a rut, that there are things we're looking forward to. And I think that kind of goes along with number 13, which is be kind to yourself. And I feel like that is a great way to end and wrap things up, is just be kind. No one has ever shamed themselves into success. It just doesn't happen. And this book has a lot of great humor in it. I mean, she starts out with telling you to back away from the matches. Like, it's going to be okay. We're good. We'll get through it. It was a great book. I am looking forward to getting her other books. She has one about the kitchen specifically, and I'm curious about that one. And so I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this book. If you've read this author's other work, that would be lovely. I know she has a podcast as well. I'm curious if anyone has listened to that. And I will kind of keep digging into this. I will talk to you guys soon. Have a great day. Happy reading.